name is Ritvik Raje and I'm here to take you on another ride, and this time to right where the money is, literally. Today's guest has been driving marketing and its related functions for American Express for 15 years before moving on as the country head for Citibank's marketing, digital and analytics departments. And we will be talking about how all these functions play a role in creating a smoother experience for the customer. So let us all welcome Miss Arnika Dixit here with us today.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, how do you like the campus? Is this your first time at MICA?
It's my second time. I think the first time
alright.
I came was for summer internship recruitment.
Sure.
But this time it was in winters, so it was pretty nice, a nice chill, a nice breeze. I made a small video of, the wind blowing in the, trees, and probably that's how you should be enjoying the campus's, beauty.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, ma'am, let's dive into a little bit of digital marketing and
Yeah.
a little bit of banking. So, both of these have gone together for quite some time now, and both of them have lived together in tandem for quite some time now. We know how it's helped banking in effective reach and engagement, and but is there a side to digital marketing in banking that has helped it more than what we see on the surface? Is it something that that goes behind the curtains, or that is something which banks don't exactly like to share, but they are working day and night on it?
So, I think one of the things about digital banking or digital marketing is how do you make it effortless, right?
Sure.
A lot of effort goes in, making things contextual, personalizable for your clients, to keep the UI, UX and the experience in the right manner, and then to reach out in a way that you can engage and influence them. The difference that it's pretty much like that what the clients see is like a duck above the surface,
Sure, sure.
and what you actually see below is a lot of peddling that of rough waters, which is what probably the teams who work in those departments do. So
Sure.
on the front end you will see a very cool app, you will see a very cool advertisement, you will
Sure.
see a very cool text or a post or a campaign, but I think the hard work that goes behind that is what makes it exciting. And it is like any other function, but the difference is that when you have to do something which has to reach a large number of people,
Sure.
but yet be personalized to a single individual, it requires a lot of effort to actually have the right kind of data sets, the right kind of campaigns, the right kind of personalization.
Sure.
And that, I think, is the beauty of digital marketing coming together.
Amazing, amazing. So, you talked about a lot about, personalization and, data centric personalization. So, customer data is a gold mine right now for any brand, let alone a bank.
Yeah.
And so, how are you dealing with, data protection acts and, which are coming up recently? And India is also a big time going towards, protecting its data for its customers, for its people. So, how do you toe the line when it comes to being subtle and, not being pestering about marketing?
So, as any responsible brands, one of the things that any upcoming marketeer needs to do is to recognize the fact that, people are okay to engage with you as
Sure.
long as a brand reflects or mirrors the values that, your clients expect out of you.
Sure.
Now, in that context, more and more clients expect a two-way transparency from you, that
Sure.
what I am sharing with you is for your consumption and for a certain particular purpose. I think responsible brands across industries actually, use a lot of data, but they use a lot of data to make life better for their clients, and more people appreciate it. Right kind of disclosures, right kind of, letting people know, making people aware as to, what your data is going to be used for, are some of the steps that more responsible brands do. And I think that is something we used to do even in the analog world, because if you remember the application forms or
Yeah.
terms and conditions which people used to do, or face-to-face selling where somebody will tell you that it will come with XYZ things, the same thing comes in the digital world as well. It gets
Sure.
more manifested in digital world because just the sheer amount and footprint of data which is available. But if you have the right guardrails, you have the right intent, and as a brand you always are authentic and understand that the information that you've got for the customer is to make the customer's lives better,
Sure.
and you are using that to do that.
Sure.
I think more and more customers will be happy, to share, with you.
So therein comes a lot of consumer engagement, a lot of consumer data mining, a lot of consumer insight mining, and here in digital marketing has obviously been very beneficial because most of the platforms have their own data repositories, and they play a lot with data. They sell their data to a lot of companies. So do you do something extra to go that extra mile, which is not related to those platforms, but specific to the banking sector, which anybody might be doing, which increases that engagement to a little bit extra?
So any brand needs to use data to engage. So what is the use of data? The use of data is to generate insights about your customer.
Sure.
And the use of digital is to use a medium to engage and influence those customers.
Sure.
So I think just the sheer use of data for no rhyme or reason does not make sense, right? But the use of data which gives insights about individuals to say, you are actually a golf lover, you are actually a music lover, and therefore next time when I'm inviting you for an event, or next time when I'm sending you an offer, I'm going to send it basis the persona that you have exhibited, will make it much more relevant for me. I always say that there are 3 R's to any data and digital campaign. The first is that it should be relevant, and that is extremely important, because just because the cost of an email is cheaper or a cost of a SMS is cheaper, we try to just bombard, and spray and pray kind of an approach. So it needs to be relevant to the client. Any communication which is relevant will always be beneficial, and you will see that your KPIs of that communication or campaign turns out to be better. The second is that it needs to be real time or relevant, and that basically means that there is no point talking about to a client about, say, a lounge access when you are actually not traveling. But the best time to actually talk to somebody to say you have a lounge access is when the person enters the airport. So how do you make it as real time as possible is the second thing. And the third and the most important is rewarding, because why am I getting this out of you? I don't need information. It needs to make some value addition in my life. So again, am I just sending you something which everybody else is doing, or as a brand am I putting together certain value propositions for you that make you distinctive? And that is not just for financial services. It's true for FMCG, it's true for automobile, it's true for any other brand. For example, do I reach out to you if you have to purchase a car when you actually don't exhibit any behavior of purchasing a car? But if I'm actually seeing that you have a earlier car of mine and you are actually changing your tires or you're changing things, there is data to then predict to some extent that maybe you are thinking about a second car.
So a lot of real-time analysis of data as to what behaviors or what cognitive understanding of that customer specifically, and then giving them real-time solutions as to what to drive your demand specifically. So from what you have told, there was an evolutionary process to your answer. You started from very basic, how brands actually just try to engage directly with the customer, and then towards a technology that we call an AI right now, giving real-time solutions to customers and understanding their everything that they are doing, from tip to toe. So being updated is very difficult in digital marketing, especially when every day there's something new or the other is coming up. And at MICA we have a lot of courses telling us to do this and do that to become a good digital marketer, and everybody wants to become a digital marketer nowadays. So what are your suggestions as to people who are going in right now, students who are just going to qualify PGP2 completely, and what are your suggestions for them who are digital marketing enthusiasts as to what to do at the start of their careers?
Okay, so a couple of things. The first and foremost is, which I was saying also, was that business models are evolving. The earlier business model was that I will develop a product and I will distribute that product, and then it will generate economic value for me. The business model of today for most businesses is that I will actually use data to first engage, decide what I'm going to do, use digital to engage, and then I'm going to generate economic value. So the business models are becoming data and digital driven, which basically means that whether you are in a function of finance or you're a function of marketing or you're in a function of even supply chain, you need to understand basic knowledge of how data analytics work.
Sure.
Your orientation about problem solving skills needs to be there, right? Your basic understanding of digital as a medium needs to be there.
Sure.
A lot of people, young people, are on digital social medium. They are on Instagram, they are on YouTube, they consume a lot of content. But are you having an orientation where you're trying to understand that how does it work in the back end is very important. And that doesn't mean you need to be technical.
Sure.
You don't need to be a search expert. If that's an area of interest, you can become an expert. But at least you should know how search works at the back end. So I think for me, that is fundamental now to any postgraduate professional who's trying to get into a corporate life. Because whether you even get into manufacturing sector, that will be expected out of you.
Agree.
Right? So those basic courses everybody should do. I think on top of that, what is required, is your interest level.
Sure.
So, if you are a problem solving person who actually likes to look at data and think that, okay, these are the various insights I can generate, then you specialize in data courses. If you're actually a person who understands data, but you actually feel that I will actually be leaning more towards creativity, then you specialize in your creative courses. But don't forget that creative people doesn't need to understand how data works. Creative people doesn't need to understand how digital works, because tomorrow if you're designing a campaign and you design a campaign without the insights and without the medium on which you are going to do, you will try to be creative about it, but it might not work in a in the medium that which you reach out to, right? Classic case is that how videos content has evolved, right? Earlier content was 5 minutes, 6 minutes, because as a creative person you felt I want a story to be told in a film. But today, most of us don't consume more than 10 seconds or 11 seconds of video. Short stories have become the norm of the life. So I feel that have that fundamental basics and then pick up courses where your interests are, so that one area of specialization is what you are known for.
Sure. So, we'll end with this question. And a lot of talk has been going on about the way that advertisement is taking shape now, and the way that advertisement is being bombarded to everybody on every platform that we see, whether it's YouTube with its short snackable ads of 5 seconds or 8 seconds, or whether it's Facebook or Instagram with its cookies based ads, or Amazon or Flipkart and the same. So do you see an evolutionary process here, or do you see that with the premium models that are coming in, which are not allowing ads to be there on the model, and with India moving so fast with 120 or 130% increase in subscription models, so do you see an evolutionary process where advertisement may become a little obsolete in its current form right now, and it may evolve to something else?
It will take a while, but it will. The reason being is that just like what happens is when you actually go on a road and you see a series of hoardings, it's pretty much like actually being on YouTube and seeing a series of ads, right?
Definitely.
In the short term, what is going to make any brand stand out is the content that we are going to put over there. Is your content engaging? Is your content sometimes I've seen some wonderful advertising which is just about the product, but it still engages you, right? Or sometimes you get on a very emotional site where you don't recall what the brand was, but you recall what the content is. So I think both have their pros and cons. But irrespective of that, I think what is very important is that you get remembered for a longer period if your content is actually standing out, versus you running out a campaign almost every month but still the same recurring content. So I think that is one change which I feel are going to do. The second thing is that the world in India is moving from critics review to peer review. So earlier films were reviewed by critics and people will go by that. Today films get rated on various platforms and IMDb, and people actually go by that. Similarly, you will go with actually what your peers are talking about certain brands, where you have to travel or whatever, versus otherwise. So building a two-way conversation and building a community will be the way in which most advertising will go. If you are able to build a community of your own fans, of your own people, then engaging that community who actually have affinity towards you will be quite interesting. And I think third will be, over a period of time, I think for brands who really want to build long term, they'll start building their own content. They will start building, tomorrow you never know, but today, what content is being produced by Netflix and Amazon Prime. Tomorrow, they might have actually brands coming on those platforms and producing long term series, which actually build, connect with the brand.
Zomato is already doing that, I think.
That could be an evolutionary processes for any brand, over a period of time. But I think fact remains, in a cluttered environment, environment,
Sure.
a cluttered medium, whether it was TV earlier, it was out of home after that, or digital. What stands out is how you come across as a brand, how you communicate. And I'll just end what Maya Angelou's actually says, that nobody remember who you are or what you did for them.
What
People
made you feel?
remember what you made them feel. And I
Beautiful,
think that's
amazing.
how brands will be.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, actually, that's very right. And, we have a lot of takeaways from this conversation that we had. And the most important right now is while there is an evolutionary process and, everything is evolving every day, what you have to do is you have to be true to your content and what you are presenting to the
Yeah.
customer. Not go overboard with the with the data. Stay true to what you are presenting and what your customer demands. And, real time always wins
Yeah.
everywhere. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
for that
you.
conversation. Thank you for sharing your insights. And I'm sure our listeners will be looking forward to another episode of MyCast. We are done here. Keep listening to us. Keep looking forward to more episodes, and we'll be back with more industry expertise. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.